Hey there guys, it's me Robert. Today's a very special review for me. I'm doing a oldie but a goldie, the Invincible Iron Man number 1 in the Matt Fraction line, the first trade paperback. This one by far is my favorite line of the comic, much more than the Marvel Now line. It was done by Matt Fraction and Salvador Larroca. Alright, this was done back in 2008 when the movie first came out. They really tried to push this character because there was a movie out and it basically made Marvel Studios. And this line was the first one they did to incorporate a movie thing, which was great starting out, but now it's all about whatever comics, movies coming out, which I don't like, but this one I did. So we're going to go in that and give a positive review or tear it to pieces, either one. Alright, it starts off in Tabora, Tanzania, Africa. It just starts off as a normal day. People who have apparently, just gotten cell phones are coming up here and going to the car. All of a sudden, these people come out of the car having arc reactors attached to them. Very scary thing, because it sort of reminds you of terrorist attacks with those Unabombers and self-detonating people we had in the Middle East. Just kind of sad. Didn't really like them going in that era, but it's a reality, and what comics do best is revealing it. It starts off after that with a Tony Stark taking over, and this is in the line where he is he's still director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it basically lets you know who Tony Stark is. For those that didn't see the movie or whatnot, here we go. It talks about his 5 nightmares. You see him out in space doing good or whatnot. His day is just awesome. He starts off here, it's the end of his day, and he's taking care of a space shuttle, trying to get it in orbit, stuff like that. Then we move on to the part everyone knows about Tony Stark, how he's an incorrigible poonhound. And we see him in here with different woman after woman. It talks about his first nightmare, which is his alcoholism. That's right, Tony Stark's an alcoholic. If you didn't know that from the comics, you really need to catch up. And that's what we're going to do here. So, yeah. The other thing, this is right when he was taking over for S.H.I.E.L.D. It was right after the Civil War era. And he's in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. All of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's got the keys to the helicarrier. He signs the paychecks for the people at S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, he's in charge of it all. The only person he has to answer to is the president and his deputy director, Maria Hill. That's right, you saw her in the Avengers. I wonder if that's foreshadowing anything. Anyway, you see him going through all these different decisions. He has to find out everything in the world. He's basically become Nick Fury, and it's playing havoc with him, because one thing everyone forgets, Nick Fury wasn't a superhero. Iron Man still wants to feel like he's doing good, but I find really interesting this, he didn't take the paycheck from it. Crazy, huh? At least, there it shows that in a, imaginary world, you don't have to pay your politicians to do their job. Some of them will just do it. And then we find out the antagonist in this, Ezekiel Stane, the son of the famous Obadiah Stane from the first movie. This guy is about 10 times smarter and more intelligent than his father is. He's licked the Iron Man technology. It's basically made him every bit the threat that Iron Man is. We move on to his Iron Man's second fear, that in this particular issue, it's called the 5 Fears, that someone else will be able to create an Iron Man armor, make it cheap. So, like, anyone who's created a massive weapon of destruction, and this thing would be an amazing weapon of destruction. He's worried about too many of these things. He looks at it as a sword. What happens when it becomes a gun, basically? When it's not used just for defense. It's used to attack people. There are several, people who've come close. Iron Man has several armored enemies. They're and he's worried about them just breaking them out to it would be a race of who was better. We go on back here to find Ezekiel Stain, who apparently has mastered the technology where he, when he gets hurt, it can heal himself. Part of the extremis tech. It's bad for Tony. He doesn't want to face something like this. The third fear he has about it is, like he said, it becomes disposable. That this kind of technology you could just get off the street. That it wouldn't matter if you had it or not because someone else has it. Too much technology just getting it or whatnot. We see him with the original extremis idea. It's not exactly like what was in Iron Man 3, but not till later. But it just basically comes onto him like nobody's business. He can control it with his very mind. It's all I like that part. It's a great little moment for him. The fourth fear is that the armor is would be too dangerous for any one person. That whoever had it would be incapable of controlling it. And we're in here in these war fields, and he's taking out AIM. He's taking out a lot of particular threats in the MU. And the final fear, the worst fear he has, is that the Iron Man armor will stop being made by him. He won't have any control over what he created, and all those deaths that are created by it are on his hands. So if you're ever wondering about Tony Stark being the jerk and being the one who didn't care about what's going on, just making money, it's not it. It's not it at all. That's what this book really reveals to you, that this is a guy who does care about what happens to everyone in his immediate circle. This right here is AIM again. They're still taking him down with Pepper Potts over here. They create a new giant head, Modog. Not Modoc, Modog. I guess AIM's gone gangster. Anyway, Tony Stark is going over here. They're launching missiles. He's fighting a thing full of missiles, a giant head, and still piloting the suit and taking a conference call at the same time. Iron Man just has a completely busy day. AIM is being arrested. He's in space, and he's still talking to Pepper Potts all at the same time. He's got a crazy morning. This is part of the Manuel initiative ceremony where he's basically christening a new team of superheroes. That's what they did in the Civil War. After they'd won the war, they created several teams for each state that would handle immediate threats, led by pretty high up there ranking superhero to teach and lead the others. But anyone with powers was executed in this thing, which is kind of cool. And they're going, I don't know. They've got a Red Feather, St. George, Mighty Mother, Antinium, Fighter 1, the Wishing Man, and the Great Mongoose. Yeah, a lot of these people were just created for this one little ceremony. They weren't exactly big characters, but still, I really like it. And Ezekiel Stain takes one of the monks and whatnot, people he's altered, and destroys the ceremony, just to let Tony Stark know, I can get to you. Anything you can do, I can do better. You're an old man. I'm a boy. This is what I can do. You see him just going a little crazy with this sort of power he's mastered. And Tony Stark over here just taking it pretty hard. And I love this art style too, and it really brings to light a lot of nice people. And Tony Stark being a pretty good leader, I thought this whole thing. It just the way it ended in this, he just wasn't the man they could get the job done in the end. But anyway, just to go on with his little reign as the director showed, you see him going to the grave sites of these heroes he was getting ready to christen or whatnot. He paid for the cemetery for all of them out of his own pocket, nothing, and make sure that no one would ever mess with it again. And who should show up but Thor? Now, if you haven't read Civil War, I'd recommend that you read Civil War before you read this one. It's going to reveal a lot of stuff, especially about the nature of their relationship. And but it's kind of there's some wounds at this point between Thor and Iron Man that have to be filled. And you see them here. There's a big fight. I'm going to go into another big story with Thor, a reissue later. But we see him dealing with Thor, and of course he tells him, why can't we put this behind us? You're alive. We're both alive. More than we can say about some people right now. Let's work together. And Thor just doesn't want to hear it. He's not ready to make nice and let go. It works out in this one where they're still together. If something happened to the planet, he'd be there for him. And like Tony Stark does, he goes off to another soiree. This time he's with Pepper Potts, and in the room with thousands of women. She's furthest away from him. She gets mad and starts throwing things at him. Entire couple glasses of champagne. He's used to that by now. The fight ensues, and this typical Tony Stark stuff. And all of a sudden, you see Ezekiel Stane in the room, and he's talking to Tony for a minute, and all of a sudden, people come in and are attached with RT reactors. They're just going to blow the place up. And who should be in the middle of it but Pepper Potts, underneath all the rubble. Now Tony's extremist armor reacts in issue 3, coming through, comes up and down, back through here, and he manages to save her, but she's damaged a lot like Tony was in the first couple Iron Man issues. He's over here trying to help her. All these plugins and whatnot. She's charcoal a little bit, and she tells it. In the middle of all this, she tells him, "You shouldn't have asked me to get those girls drinks." And she's like, "Yeah, I know." And he feels bad about it, but apparently not that much. They're still talking. He starts to see these people that died at his party, and he is connected to the SHIELD satellite. He's on their butts like a deputy director should be if someone like that comes in their own party, and does a major terrorist thing on the most important big cop in the universe. Ezekiel apparently survives and is able to regrow his appendages and everything, thanks to the extremists. Through all this, his contacts bail him out. She tells him, he's going to need a new suit since he's finished all. He's going to fight Tony one-on-one. He comes up to Pepper Potts, trying to help the Doctor figure out how to save her. And he figures there's only one way to do it. And this might be a future spoiler for a lot of people if you haven't read the comic or whatnot. But he creates another arc reactor to put into Pepper. She sort of becomes her own mini Iron Man at this point. In future issues, it goes into some back history about Obadiah Stane, the father of Ezekiel Stane. And we go from here to the sites of all these bombings. Iron Man is trying to be a symbol, and they eventually learns into China who has their own armored division force, and they are just not going to let Iron Man in. They don't recognize the authority of SHIELD. They don't want any of this superhero mess in their own country, and it's all run by these nerds in a metal shop. And they're telling him to leave, and Iron Man's just proving how much better a man suit is compared to a remote control one. And he finds out evidence of more RT reactor technology, and that he finds out one of his other fears has come true, that it's on the black market. You can find, if you have enough money, you can put together your own Iron Man suit and become a weapon of mass destruction. It's something that's really sad for my character. I love it because it forces him to be responsible. Anyway, we see that through this technology that Ezekiel Stain has put together his own suit and is ready to take on Tony. That's it for part 1 of the Iron Man 5 Nightmares review. Backlogging, but I'll be sure to hit you with part 2 here soon. Thanks so much.